Okay, welcome back. In this video, which will be the last video that I do before the maiden flight, I want to make sure you understand everything you need to do post-flight, a checklist for the post-flight. And I'm going to make this a more complete post-flight checklist, one that you might do at the end of the flying day when you're ready to go home. Between flights, you do some of these, but not necessarily all of them. So here we go. Imagine that you just landed, finished taxiing in, and what do you do next? Well, the first thing you do is make sure, if you just finished taxiing, that the disarm switch is in the up or disarm position. That makes sure that if you bump the throttle, the prop's not going anywhere. When you walk over to the airplane, first thing you do before you pick it up is turn the switch to off. Again, that's a safety double check to make sure that the prop doesn't spin when you pick it up. Okay, with that off, you pick the airplane up and set it on your stand. Obviously, I use this in the stand, this stand out at the field, and you go ahead and open up the battery hatch and unplug the battery. Okay. And now that the battery is unplugged, go ahead and turn your radio off. Always do it in that order, because not all airplanes have a switch, so you should always unplug the battery as a routine before you turn off the radio. Okay, next you want to remove the battery. Okay, and so we removed the battery. Now we check the battery for any, make sure it's not hot to the touch. It'll be warm maybe, but not hot to the touch. And check for any damage. Make sure it hadn't got any bumps or bruises or any corners bent or anything like that. So now we're going to pull the, get your voltage tester. I guess I didn't have to pull this one out. So now I can test the battery. It's this one says 12.3 because I haven't actually flown it. I'll probably recharge it. It's 419, and so I'm sorry, it's 408, 407, and 408. So we'll because this has been used slightly, I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's balanced and recharged. So we got the battery checked, no heat or puffiness. We checked the voltage and the balance. Then we can close the hatch here and turn the airplane back over. Okay, so next thing I do is check the rubber bands, and they all look in good shape. None are weak or broken. I'm going to remove these. I like to sometimes take them all off at one time on the front. Okay, it's easier than trying to take them off one at a time, and you can take them all off at once. So now that the rubber bands are off, they're in good shape. I'll go ahead and unplug the wing and remove the wing. Okay. Then we're going to check the wing for damage. Haven't had any damage yet, not here in the shop anyways. So you just check to make sure that the center section is good, the leading edge is good, and there's no damage on the tips. And then we check the ailerons. Okay, the webbing in here looks, you check that. Check to make sure that there's nothing torn or broken here. You're going to check the control horn and the push rod and the clevis on both sides. And that would be it. Set the wing aside. Okay, and I like to again start at the front of the airplane, check the prop, make sure the spinner's in good shape, prop's not dirty or bent in any way. Check the nose wheel, make sure it's straight. When you're checking the nose wheel to be straight, you make sure it's straight here at the same time the rudder is straight. And it spins freely. Okay. The main gear, they're straight, spins freely. You can check the wheel collars as well. This wheel collar is good. So next would be the vertical stabilizer. So you make sure the vertical stabilizer is in good position, no gaps. It's not loose. It's down tight. In other words, the vertical stabilizer is down tight. The horizontal stabilizer is down tight. Make sure the with the vertical stabilizer, you're checking the elevator, the rudder. Make sure it's good. The horizontal stabilizer, that it's tight, and the elevator is good. So rudder and elevator are both good. And last but not least, the cabin components. Okay, you already got the switch off. Make sure everything in here looks good and tight. Nothing's moved. Nothing's interfering with anything. And so that's the cabin components are good. So that's a visual inspection you do at the end of the day when you're taking the airplane apart. Get ready to put it back in your car to take it home. And just making sure that when you bring it out the next time, you didn't see anything that needed to be repaired before you bring it back out. Okay, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.